we separate reporting, good reporting by reporters with individuals doing their job. When I'm out there in the community cutting ribbons, I'm doing a job. And if I say to you that you make an appointment to speak to the communications department or myself, do so. You don't have to put mics in my face or follow me to my car. It is dangerous and you're setting a precedent for someone to get hurt. So quit it.
Well, it seems Supervisor Pamela Yeung does not like to be asked questions when she's out in public, quote unquote, doing her job. In this video, we're going to talk about why Supervisor Pamela Yeung in Stafford County publicly criticized reporters for asking questions in public and what happened following a ribbon cutting last week. Why her movie theater claims are being challenged by not only the developer, but by other Stafford supervisors, including a new request to produce the contract she says exists. And why Yeung says a new Rappahannock River crossing should be built in Dahlgren, 30 miles away from Stafford, instead of connecting directly to Fredericksburg, where county residents commute daily. Hello and welcome to the Potomac Local News Channel. I'm your host, Uriah Kaiser, founder and publisher of Potomac Local News and PotomacLocal.com. Thanks for joining us here on our YouTube channel. If you want more local news where you live between Fredericksburg, Manassas, and Woodbridge, you have found the right place. Go ahead and like and subscribe and click that bell notification to be notified when we post new videos, new local news content. And if you never want to miss a headline, hurry over to PotomacLocal.com and sign up for our free email newsletter. We pack that thing full of local news you just won't find anywhere else, and we send it out every day for free at PotomacLocal.com. Well, at the Stafford County Board of Supervisors meeting on November 18th, 2025, Garrisonville District Supervisor Dr. Pamela Yeung addressed reporters directly. She said she wants, quote unquote, good reporting, but does not want a microphone in her face or questions asked when she's doing her job in public.
I just want to make sure that, we separate reporting, good reporting by reporters with individuals doing their job. When I'm out there in the community cutting ribbons, I'm doing a job. And when I ask reporters to give me space, and if they want to have a conversation with me about anything, even when I vote, you could call me like some other reporters do. They're respectful, and you don't have to put mics in my face or follow me to my car. It is dangerous, and you're setting a precedent for someone to get hurt. So quit it, okay? And we here as colleagues of mine, we need to watch what we say in terms of not realizing what the consequences are for your colleagues when she or he goes out there to do their work. Cutting ribbons is part of my job. And if I say to you that you make an appointment to speak to the communications department or myself, do so.
Now, this follows an incident earlier this month when we asked Dr. Yeung questions following that ribbon-cutting event. Just days after her November 4th re-election, we asked Yeung why she abstained from the October 22nd vote on new data center performance standards. And we also asked why her campaign mailer said she had, quote, secured a new movie theater, unquote, for the Garrison, when the developer of the project says there is no deal. She declined to answer. Instead, she told us to make an appointment and then go back and watch the video of what she said during the meeting. Then she demanded we please stop harassing her. Today, Yeung has not responded to any request for an interview from this news outlet in more than a year. And as you know, 2025 is an election year, and we made a point to interview, or at least try to interview, all candidates in Stafford County running for local and state level offices. Many of them responded and conducted the interviews, and you can watch that. Our Kelly Soundkowski did a great job interviewing candidates who agreed to sit down and talk with us. You can see those interviews at our website, PotomacLocal.com, or our YouTube page, youtube.com/Potomac Local. We've got an archive of great videos at both of those websites, so go there and check them out. Yeung, who is a Democrat, she won re-election with 57.5% of the vote in the Garrisonville district. That's North Stafford. She defeated Republican Bart Randall, who criticized her abstention from the data center vote and her movie theater claims during the campaign. Now, Yeung is set to begin her second term in office in January 2026. So going back to October 22nd, the board approved what officials call some of the strictest data center rules in Virginia, including tighter zoning, more protections for nearby neighborhoods, and stronger rules on diesel generator noise and light pollution. Now, residents came out to this meeting and spoke for hours, urging the board to take action. Yeung was the only member to abstain. She gave no explanation then or now as to why she did so. That final vote that night, 4 in favor, 2 against, and 1 abstention, which was Yeung. In the waning days of her campaign, Yeung told voters she had secured a new movie theater for the Garrison development on Garrisonville Road, a still untouched plot of land that for 10 years has been marked for new development, to include new housing, new restaurants, new shops, and a new movie theater. But developer of that property, Bob Pence, publicly disputed that. He told the board that no deal exists and a 2015 contract with the Regal Cinema Corporation to build a theater at the Garrison, it collapsed after the company Regal filed bankruptcy. And since then, no replacement contract has been signed. Residents have gone nearly 10 years without a movie theater since Aquaya's closed in 2016. Later, at the board's November 6th meeting, Supervisor Darrell English asked staff to obtain the actual movie theater contract, the same one that Yeung claimed existed.
But I also want to make sure that I want to bring this in. I want to get consensus with the board that a contract was supposedly signed on a movie theater for the Garrisons, and I never seen that, and I don't think anybody in the board, and I would like to bring that up. I'll get consensus of the board that we bring this back, because I think that's made a big difference, because that movie theater's been on the since for 30 years, and if there is a contract, I'd like to see it.
Vice Chairwoman Tanisha Allen confirmed the board could request it, and County Attorney Rashida McClendon said the county can ask for the document, but it is likely not public because the document is between 2 private parties. However, the board agreed to request it anyway. Coming back to the November 18th meeting, Yeung also criticized proposals for a new Rappahannock River crossing between Stafford and Fredericksburg. She says a crossing in Stafford would send, quote, money out of the county, unquote. Garrisonville would likely take the brunt of any new traffic created by the project. She said she'd rather have the crossing at Route 301 in Dahlgren, 30 miles away, and she wants the federal or state government to pay for it. She emphasized stormwater protections, no piers in the river, and full span bridging. Our next question to the supervisor: how does a bridge in Dahlgren help Stafford commuters stuck in Fredericksburg traffic? And just as we were producing this video, Supervisor Yeung once again declined to sit down for an interview. We received an email from the Stafford County Government Office of Communication stating, "Our office traditionally handles requests from the media for elected policymakers for the county. At this time, Dr. Yeung prefers using our established means of answering questions from the media. Please send your questions to us." Once again, Supervisor Yeung has declined a sit-down interview and has pawned us off on a paid county spokesperson. However, we will not be deterred. We will continue pressing the supervisor and other elected officials, policymakers in our region, for answers to the important questions that you're asking. For more local news, go to PotomacLocal.com, and we'll see you on the next one. Downtown Manassas is famous for its tight-knit network of small shops and restaurants, roughly 50 to 60 storefront businesses packed into just a few blocks around the train station. Now, major transportation upgrades from Virginia Railway Express and OmniRide could change how people and buses move through that core, especially along Battle Street. Now, city leaders are pressing rail officials on one key question: Will these plans actually work for Manassas? Hello and welcome to PLN's YouTube channel. I'm Uriah Kaiser, founder and publisher of Potomac Local News and PotomacLocal.com. If you want more news from where you live in Northern Virginia between Fredericksburg, Manassas, and Woodbridge, you found the right place. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe for more local news content from PLN. That way you'll never miss a headline and always know what's happening in your community. The Battle Street crossing sits at the heart of Old Town, linking restaurants, the parking garage, the museum lawn, and the city's busiest festival streets. But VRE says extending platforms and reconfiguring the area at the train station is necessary for safety and the future of rail expansion. Councilmember Mark Wolf questioned whether the data truly supports the need for longer trains and platforms.
Help me understand. Over time, we are going to double the number of trains. More than
that, hopefully.
Yeah. All right, we're going to double the number of trains. We're going to go from 8-car trains to 9-car trains, right?
No. 8-car universal concept.
The drawing showed 9. Maybe I can discount.
That's the locomotive. 8 cars and a locomotive.
Okay, 8 cars. I guess the degree of your confidence that the ridership will grow such that you need the additional platform capacity. Well, and I understand the efficiency discussion of getting people off the train a little bit quicker, but there's a part of me, the businessman of me, is like, metrics don't match.
VRE officials pushed back, saying the platform length isn't about current ridership, it's about rail traffic flow, reliability, and preventing system-wide delays. A VRE representative explained why dual platforms matter.
It's not about the number of people on the train or the number of trains. It's about the flexibility in both directions. So right now, railroads are very different than highways, right? And so if I need to use that platform and only that platform on that track, I have to get to that track to do it. And then if I have opposite moves, right, that's a meet. And if there's the signal blocks on these systems 5 to 10 miles apart. Right, so I have to switch tracks 5 miles away. So serving the platform Manassas Park and then getting back to the platform on Manassas. So if I have dual platforms, I can have far more flexibility, which then increases my capacity.
The most controversial issue, VRE's suggestion that Battle Street could be fully or partially closed to vehicle traffic. The idea is intended to improve safety and create room for platform expansion. But city leaders quickly raised concerns about traffic, deliveries, and festival crowds. The VRE representative also pointed to safety gains from new pavement markings already installed by Manassas Public Works.
And so I want to offer that. So something unique that we just tried. We instituted it at Quantico when we finished the project at Quantico. And it seems that what you're seeing on the drawing there, it's MUTCD Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices. It's a federal manual, highway manual. And that painting, that don't block the box, right? It's a don't block the box, which you normally see at roadway intersections, right? One of those was recently painted here in the city, but we put it out at Quantico and offered it to the city as a solution, and it seems to be helping.
Several council members made clear they would not support a full closure. They pointed to Battle Street's role during First Fridays, the Fall Jubilee, parades, and 4th of July, events that draw tens of thousands of people into Old Town. Councilmember Sonia Vasquez Luna said the proposal may work on paper, but not for a downtown built around walkability and small business access. Here's Councilmember Sonia Vasquez Luna expressing her concerns.
You know, if we're talking about trying to maybe slow down or do a change to maybe in 5 and 10 years to see if we can adapt to that, I will be open to it to see how it looks and make sure that we can try that it doesn't hurt businesses. But the way that I hear it, I just can't.
Emergency access was another major concern, especially for the candy factory and nearby buildings. With narrow streets surrounding the station, some members questioned how fire trucks could navigate the area if Battle Street were partially restricted. Police Chief Doug King, speaking on behalf of emergency services, explained likely response routes.
It depends on the size of the truck and where the fire is at. So where did you say if you had to call it the candy factory?
Right.
More
right
than
here.
likely, they're gonna probably come in off of Main Street and go into the parking lot.
Police Chief Keene suggested staff survey every business on both blocks of Battle Street before bringing back new options, including potential hybrid designs keeping pedestrian access open.
Clearly, we have some more work to do. Go back and I would propose that we reach out directly to those businesses on Battle Street to get their direct input, which would hopefully answer some of the questions at the table, whether the street's closed to vehicle traffic or not.
Council members said the city must protect the economic heart of Old Town. With 50 to 60 small businesses clustered around the station, changes to Battle Street could have ripple effects across the entire downtown economy. Mayor Michelle Davis-Younger said the city's needs come first.
We are not like everybody else. We are different, and it has to work for us. And we don't want to make things worse. We're trying to make it better.
City staff and VRE officials will return with revised designs in the coming weeks. For now, no decisions have been made, and Battle Street remains open while the city studies potential impacts. That's it for this report on PLN. If you want more local news, head to our website, potomaclocal.com, and sign up for our free email newsletter. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Hey everyone, welcome to the PLN channel, Potomac Local News. I am Uriah Kaiser. We are following breaking news out of Spotsylvania County this evening, where a man has been sentenced to 201 years in prison with 48 to serve after he molested several disabled children on a school bus in Spotsylvania County. The sentencing came down today. We'll get into it, tell you what is going on tonight. We are hearing from Commonwealth Attorney in Spotsylvania County, Ryan Mahaffey, who laid out the timeline and called these crimes irreprehensible. So on Facebook, Mahaffey released a statement and he confirmed the 201-year sentence for the defendant here. We'll get to his name in here in a second, but just laying this all out, the accused, the convicted will serve 48 years. And Mahaffey says the punishment exceeded the high end of Virginia's sentencing guidelines. So what we're looking at here, the background is the guilty Miguel Angel Velasco, age 23. He's a former Spotsylvania County bus aide, and he molested 5 special needs children, age 4 to 8. All of these children were nonverbal, meaning they just could not communicate. And so he was a school bus aide at the time. We're learning today the name of the school bus driver who reported this back on September 11th, 2024 is when this occurred. And a check of the legal presence of Miguel and Velasco, age 23. He is not a U.S. citizen. He is here in the U.S. on a green card. So we looked into that as well. Going back to September 19th, 2025, he pled guilty for 13 sexual assault offenses, 9 of them aggravated sexual battery, 2 custodial indecent liberties charges, 1 attempted sodomy, and 1 battery. So he faced a total possible time of 200 years. And so it looks like the sentencing that he got today was 201 years. So that's above the what was reported to be the total, obviously, clearly, with 48 years of those to serve. The background here is the school division has released a statement. We will get to that here in a second. But the school has faced criticism over this case. There was some criticism hurled at the school division for a 2-week gap between the parents, the concern, the first report, and a video review of this case. Residents also said there was a lack of communication from the school division. They also cited oversight failures in transportation and aid supervision and hiring practices, monitoring standards for aides working with these clearly vulnerable children on these school buses. So we have a statement from the school division. We will read that here in a second. Wrapping up with Mahaffey here, he has praised school bus driver Tammy Lake for her actions in reporting what happened, saying her persistence led directly to this case being uncovered. He credited her with insisting that the bus surveillance video be reviewed, a decision he said saved the innocence of countless children. That's a quote. That's a direct quote from Mahaffey. He also described her as a quote unquote hero, and he said Spotsylvania County owes her a debt of gratitude. He also praised law enforcement, detectives, and as well as his staff who worked on this case, and the sheriff, Roger Harris, in Spotsylvania County. He said the team did an excellent and professional job investigating. In closure, Mahaffey closed by saying his heart and prayers go out to every victim and family affected, asking that God bless and heal them. So I want to bring in now Shamgar Connors, who is a outspoken critic on this. You've been following this case and trying to bring light to this, to the story. And through that process, you have been banned from Spotsylvania County attending their school board meetings. So as this news breaks here tonight, what's your reaction to what you're seeing?
I'm just glad, if me getting banned and me doing what I did brought attention to this so that this guy went to prison, everything was worth it. I don't care, because there's innocent children that have had their lives completely ruined for forever. They can never get their innocence back. You know what I mean? They were robbed an entire life by this sick pervert freak. And, I think what I'm hoping now is I hope maybe people will be held accountable in Spotsylvania. Remember, the FOIA request that was done on this guy showed there was no background check done. Nobody checked this guy. He was in the country less than a year, and he couldn't even speak English. Nobody knows who filled out his application. No one knows who gave him an ID badge. Nobody knows anything about this. And by the way, they refused. The liberals on the board voted down a third-party audit. They said, nope, we don't want to do an investigation. We don't want a third party to come and investigate. They did a self-audit, and then they all said, oh, guess what? Our audit shows we did nothing wrong. Nothing to see here, folks. Well, clearly something failed, okay? I mean, this guy's in prison for 48 years. I think it should just be for forever, and or maybe worse. But it's just, I'm glad that justice was done. If you remember, last year, they were talking about saying he was going to be too incompetent to stand trial. They were just going to let him off. So I'm hoping that all this pressure made enough pressure on it and showed enough eyes on it to be like, okay, we can't just sweep this under the rug, because a lot of times, unfortunately, stuff like this gets swept under the rug,
Yep. We have a statement from the school division. They sent it to us here at Potomac Local, here at the PLN channel. They said that they avoided continuous public commentary during the case to, they say, protect the legal process and to ensure justice was served. They also thanked the sheriff's office. They go on to say in their statement that the initial complaint came in on September 11th, 2024, when a parent emailed the child's teacher that evening. The criminal here, the guilty party, the substitute bus attendant, held and rubbed the student's hand, making the child feel uncomfortable, is what the school division is saying. Spotsylvania County School says the complaint was immediately addressed in accordance with their policy. The discovery of alleged sexual misconduct happened later on September 26th of 2024. The school division says on that evening, school officials were made aware of alleged sexual misconduct by the bus attendant. Afterward, they notified the Child Protective Services, called the sheriff's office, and launched an internal investigation. So they are now, through this statement, and we'll post all this at PotomacLocal.com so you can see the entire statement here, but they are sort of now really for the first time opening up and commenting on this now that the guilty verdict has been laid, the sentencing has been made.
Yeah, the issue is though, what I heard, I think it's worse than what he did. Remember that what he did first was he molested a girl that was in a wheelchair. I think it was more than just rubbing her hand. He was reaching behind him, and I think he did it multiple times. And policy is when you start doing weird stuff like that to a kid, you're supposed to be either like completely suspended while there's an investigation or fired. There's no just, oh, whoopsies, yeah, oh, please don't go rubbing kids and making them feel weird again and uncomfortable like that. That's not the policy. Okay,
Yeah.
everyone knows that.
Spotsylvania says that Velasco met all criteria, including verified work authorization through U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. But this story here has a lot of people in Spotsylvania County wondering how how this could happen in the first place, how someone could take advantage of these the defenseless children on a school bus.
And why did the bus driver have to plead and beg over multiple days to get them to review the tapes? Why not instantly do it?
Yeah, and the hiring practices too. There's been a lot of questions on how not only does this happen, but how does the hiring practices and how these employees are vetted. You have brought this up several times in school board meetings, and we'll be fair, you have your own way of bringing this up. You don't just go in and bring things up. You normally are dressed in a costume and
making a scene.
You're sort of in character, but nonetheless, you have done more than most to bring to keep this story in the spotlight and the focus on this case here. What has been the reaction when you go before you were banned from going to these meetings, which you can read about on our website, PotomacLocal.com, while you were still permitted to go to these public meetings? What was the reaction when you brought up this case?
I had a lot of support from people. Like even if I'm making a scene, they were glad that I was bringing attention to it. And, several months ago, I actually dressed up in a 3-piece suit, and I went there seriously. And I told them that they're turning Spotsylvania into a playground for perverts, because did you know they're saying now that he passed all their hiring criteria? Well, why then last year did they change their hiring criteria after he got arrested? Oh, that's because they realized there was a big flaw in their hiring criteria, and they admitted that. Now, the problem is parents should be outraged. They should be surrounding the school board, because the problem is this shows that their children are in danger too. If this can happen over a period of multiple days and no one's held accountable, then that should scare other parents into thinking this is a possibility to happen to their kids. And that's the takeaway from it. That's the big part here, is they got to think about their children and how is this possible? How did this even happen? That's an issue.
Yeah. So as we continue to get information in about this story, if you're out here watching, if you've been following this, please leave your comments here in the here on YouTube and tell us what you think about this story, what you think should be done, how the school division should handle this going forward when it comes to hiring practices. Should a deeper investigation be started into how this happened and how this case was handled? Let us know what you think here in the comments. And going through the rest of the statement here from Spotsylvania County, they're now telling us that new safety measures will be implemented. They say that it has added a regular review of bus camera footage, not only when complaints or accidents occur. Good. They're striving for 2 bus attendants on special education buses. They've changed the seating location of bus attendants during routes. They say they've strengthened staff training and collaboration with CPS, the Sheriff's Office, Child Victims Unit, and the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. They're now saying that all background checks and hiring details now provided to the school board. Previously, that was the HR department, Human Resources only reviewed that. Now it's going up to the school board. They're also saying that hourly employees must now be approved by the school board, and previously only the full-time hires were approved by the school board. And finally, SCPS saying they closed today by saying student and staff safety is the greatest priority. Harmful actions are not condoned and immediately acted upon, including termination and law enforcement referral. So that's the story from Spotsylvania County. What do you think will
That's great.
happen next, Shamgar, as this breaking news continues to unfold here over the next few weeks? Obviously, this will come up in. You would think this would come up during citizen comment time at the school board meeting. What do you think we'll be hearing?
Well, I think there's a couple of concerns still. Number one, Dr. Clint Mitchell said before he got hired, he had an open listening session, and he said he only wanted to hire people that looked like him because when he was a young child, that there wasn't enough black teachers. So he's upset about that. So he wants to right that wrong. So he said he only wants to hire DEI. Now, remember, this guy was Hispanic. So I think it looks like to everybody that they were protecting him because he was a DEI hire, and that's why they didn't instantly suspend him. Remember, the teachers are supposed to be mandated reporters. As soon as some kid starts saying, hey, I feel uncomfortable, a teacher's touching me inappropriately, there's supposed to be a report made. There wasn't one made. Okay, so that's a problem. So I think there's that issue there. And I think also that in the future here, parents need to speak up about this kind of stuff. And I'm glad they're saying that they're changing the policies, and we'll see if they really do. But I still think there's holes in these things that they're not exposing all the way that they really should be doing. But I think one of them is like that background check thing. You still, even if somebody comes from another country, the problem is you can't do a background check on them. You can't find out what they've done if they've been not in our country for a year. There's no background check to be done. You can't do a background check from somebody from another country. And I think that should be a real big concern for parents. Is do you want people from other countries that you can't do background checks on? Who knows what they did? That's a danger. I think there should be like a 10-year. You should be able to do like a 10-year background check on anybody if you're going to be around kids.
And
right?
It's fair to say that you yourself have been around kids. You were a Virginia teacher for years. You taught in Richmond County and elsewhere. So I think that's an important note for our viewers.
I was a teacher for 14 years, and that's why I know how this policy works. That's why I know that what they did was wrong. Okay, so that I don't want anyone to think I'm just like somebody with an angry opinion. No, I know that me being a teacher, if I knew of anybody that was touching a kid or rubbing a kid, they would have instantly been fired or at least put on administrative leave. And I've seen it happen. So I know that that's how it's supposed to work.
Shamgar Connors, a former teacher, active, a parent with children in the local schools here in Northern Virginia, and a frequent voice at local school board meetings. Thank you for coming on and sharing your perspective and for following this case and doing what you have done to keep this out in the public view. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Thanks. And we'll be updating about that ban thing because we'll be fighting that. So you'll be getting the scoop on that too.
All right. And folks, that's it for now. So to recap, we have we have a guilty verdict we have a sentencing for the 23-year-old Velasco who molested children on a Spotsylvania County school bus in 2024 with the ages 4 to 8 and sexually assaulted them. These were disabled children, nonverbal children, and who were sexually assaulted. Velasco sentenced today to 201 years. He'll serve 48 of that time. So we will continue to bring you any developments in this case and obviously next steps. And of course, what the community residents will come and say about this. Of course, if you have something to say about this, you use the comment section. You could also email us at news@potomaclocal.com. Believe me, I read every one of them that comes in, and we certainly appreciate you watching and staying up to date with us here on PLN, the Potomac Local News Channel. Have a great night. Well, a section of Prince William Parkway in Woodbridge is about to look completely different. In this video, we're going to talk about how Prince William County is preparing to build a $61 million interchange at Prince William Parkway and Minnieville Road in Woodbridge. We're going to talk about how this project connects to the upcoming Quartz District and the county's first Whole Foods market that's planned, how long construction will take, and what drivers can expect. And the one message Supervisor Victor Angry wants every commuter to hear. But first, welcome to PLN, the Potomac Local News Channel. I'm Potomac Local News founder Uriah Kaiser. If you want more local news about where you live, from Fredericksburg to Manassas to Woodbridge, you have found the right place. Please like and subscribe here on our YouTube channel and go to our website. If you want more local news, we pack our daily email. It's a free daily email. We send it out every day, and it's packed full of local news that you really just can't get anywhere else. Original articles, curated news from across the region, all at PotomacLocal.com. All for free. Our free daily email newsletter. Go to PotomacLocal.com and subscribe. And thank you for your support of local journalism in our region. Well, the $61 million interchange vote happened on November 18th, just this week, as the Prince William Supervisors agreed to award a $61.4 million contract to the Lane Construction Corporation. The contract covers the massive rebuild of the Prince William Parkway Minnieville Road intersection, one of the most congested crossings in eastern Prince William County. Now, once complete, this will become the county's second single point urban interchange, or SPUI for short. Well, what is a SPUI, you might ask? Well, it pulls all left turns into one central coordinated traffic signal. And this particular SPUI, you will lower the Prince William Parkway under Minnieville Road. So it will essentially create a grade separated intersection where Minnieville Road drivers will go over Prince William Parkway, and Prince William Parkway drivers headed between 95 and Manassas and out toward 66 will go under the Minnieville Road. The goal here, officials say, is to cut down on the long backups on what is a massive intersection. This intersection is nearly 20 lanes wide at its widest point. You have 6 lanes of traffic on Prince William Parkway. You have 6 lanes of traffic on Minnieville Road, and not to mention all the different turn lanes that you have in addition to the regular through lanes on both of these majorly heavily traveled roadways. And these are local streets. These are not highways. These are local streets. So in addition to cutting down on those long backups, officials say that this new SPUI will improve travel times, increase safety, and it will support future growth along the Parkway corridor. This design is already in use across Northern Virginia. You'll find this similar interchange in Gainesville, where Linton Hall Road meets US 29. Supervisor Victor Angry from the Neabsco District has been talking about this upcoming project for years now. He had this to say on Tuesday.
For a little bit now, and we're in those phases where the pain starts. So we're going to start seeing a lot of movement of dirt, trucks, construction signs. Again, if you don't need to be in this area of Prince William Parkway and Minnieville Road, find alternates. I hate to put it that way, but this is going to go on until we get this construction done. Of course, you know the Quartz is tied to the SPUI, which is the single point urban interchange. Got it right? Okay. And so that road is a major construction road because we've heard, and I've heard, that when we do developments, we don't improve the road infrastructure. So you're going to see the Parkway going under Minnieville. We've already had one town hall meeting on this. We'll be having another one here real soon because of now the next phase that we're in. So if you're not on my email list, I would ask that for folks listening in, folks around, shoot me an email, go to the website, neabsconews.org, get on this list so you'll know where we're going to have this meeting so you can come out and hear all the changes that are taking place and really be a part of the discussion, any questions you have that we can answer as we go through this process. This is going to take a couple of years, but at the end of all this, I just think you'll be very impressed with what we have. So just
Officials broke down the construction timeline now that the board has approved the contract. Construction is set to begin early next year in 2026. With that, will bring major lane shifts and detours almost immediately in this area. So Victor Angry, as you heard him say, if you don't need to be in that area, don't go there. Go around, find a workaround, use Dale Boulevard, possibly Old Bridge Road to get around this construction, which will be going through 2027. So this looks to be a 2-year project at least. Drivers should expect heavy equipment, overnight lane closures, temporary access roads, and just overall a long-term congestion headache while they work to separate these two big roads. Now, we talked about the connection to development in the area. Why are they all doing this? Well, that's the reason. This area soon will be home to the Quartz District. The new 145-acre mixed-use project will have more than 1,000 homes, 375,000 square feet of retail. And that includes a Wawa, a Shake Shack, and the county's very first Whole Foods Market. The developer said that the commercial construction won't move forward until the interchange is complete. So the road project is the gateway to this entire district. We went to a town hall meeting that was held about this project back in July, and the developer, Buchanan Partners, made it very clear that Whole Foods will not build. They will not begin construction until the Parkway interchange is well underway. It's got to be part of the deal, or Whole Foods says they're not interested. And that was the message that we got back in July when Supervisor Angry held a town hall. So the utility work will begin first before construction ramps up. There's probably some you'll see some utility relocation going on. But when it's all done, when it's all said and done, it will remove one of the last major stoplights on Prince William Parkway that causes major congestion. So the whole idea here is to remove these stoplights, and we've seen this happen in other interchanges on Prince William Parkway on the other side of the county, in the Manassas side of the county. You've seen stoplights removed at Brentsville Road and points further up. You've seen new interchanges come in at near the George Mason University campus with the jug handle intersection, as it's called. So these new types of interchanges all coming up to help improve traffic flow and remove those barriers, as they say, to traffic. So the board here approved that. And of course, if you want to read more about what's happening here and the work that is being done, we invite you to go to our website, potomaclocal.com, where you can read our article and see a picture right here of what this interchange will look like and what to expect when it's all done. That's it for this report. I'm Uriah Kaiser. Have a great day. I think 15 minutes. Oh, we're recording. I think, and I'll cut this out, but I think 15 minutes is fine. Anything beyond that, people start to lose.
I'm with you.
Yeah, that's cool. So Doug Ollivant he's running for the 7th District congressional seat in Virginia, which includes Eastern Prince William County, Stafford County, Spotsylvania County,
That's right.
City of Fredericksburg, out to Culpeper, all the way to Green. Is it Albemarle County? Is it just a little sliver of Albemarle
There's a
County?
teeny tiny slice. I'm told about 80, 90 households.
Yeah, not much, but
Not
as you
much.
go to Charlottesville, I mean, this is a big district. Doug, thanks for coming on. For those who don't know me, I'm Uriah Kaiser. I'm the publisher and founder of Potomac Local News. Thank you for joining us here on the Potomac Local News channel, whether you're watching here on YouTube or Facebook or on our website, potomaclocal.com. We certainly appreciate you watching and your support and your interest in local news and the events and things that shape the communities in which we report on and serve. Doug, no way to candy coat it. You're Republican. Republicans are facing a tough slog uphill, based on the election results we saw about a week ago. So, where does the party find itself? You wrote a good piece that you penned, and I linked out to, and the message that you gave out was it will be hard, but not hopeless.
I think that's right, Uriah. I mean, look, there's no way to candy coat what happened last Tuesday. That said, let me try to candy coat it just a little bit. You know, we had a candidate that you clearly did not connect with voters. We had a government shutdown going on that very much isolated or alienated government workers. We had SNAP benefits being, I don't think we ever actually got to them being cut off, but we were pretty close and people were very concerned about it. And we had lots of things bucking against a Republican trend, not to mention, President Trump in the White House, the Virginia curse of the year after a presidential election. So I think we did have a perfect storm for Virginia Republicans. Again, 15 points is 15 points, and that's a stubborn number. But I don't think we'll see that same combination of events as we move into November of 26.
A lot as you're saying, November 26th, obviously that's when the seventh congressional seat is up during the midterms, and a lot can happen between now and November of next year, a year from now. Where do you stand on Trump? I mean, I read an analysis by a good friend of mine, DJ Jordan, who worked for Jason Miyares for a time, has served in politics in Prince William County. He's a political consultant, and he is a Republican, and he flat out said Virginia doesn't like Trump. Republicans in Virginia don't like Trump. So does Trump help or hinder Republicans in Virginia?
I think that's too simple a question. Look, Trump has a unique style all his own. I'll never have it. It would be deeply inauthentic if I tried to mirror it. And I do think that style is off-putting to some people. I mean, he's very New York, and lots of people don't like that kind of New York brashness. But once you get past that, would we be talking about a renaissance in manufacturing the way we are, absent Donald Trump? Would we be confronting China the way we are, absent Donald Trump? Would we have gotten NATO to be talking about really paying their fair share, 3.5% or perhaps even 5%, absent Donald Trump? I think the answer is no. And that's just the bipartisan issue. We could move into the partisan ones after that. So I think we have to look at Donald Trump and realize that President Trump has done some incredible things for the country. I think that resonates with a lot of Virginia voters. Clearly, there are some closer to the Beltway that feel very differently.
Mm-hmm. Going back to what you said about Winsome Sears as the candidate and not being able to move the voters to the polls. I mean, what we saw with an analysis from Cardinal News essentially says that voter turnout was way down among Republicans. And so one of the analysis that I watched was from Steve Turley, who is on YouTube, Dr. Steve Turley. And he was looking at the numbers of the people, mostly men, younger age ranges, I think 20 to 40 in that age range, who came out last year in New York City and voted for Trump. And this year voted for Mondami, who is now the mayor-elect of New York City. And he came out, and Turley's analysis was populism is populism, right? It doesn't really care if you are a Republican, if you're a Democrat. A populist will vote for the person who says, what have you done to change my life? What have you done to upend the system? What have you done to make things different and help me? And they'll vote for the person who says whatever it takes to convince them that they're going to be different. Has the spectrum changed? Are we a populist nation now? Is that why Republicans didn't come out, because they didn't see a populist candidate in Winsome Sears the same way they saw a populist candidate in Donald Trump?
I'm not sure I like the term populist. I'm not sure that describes President Trump, but certainly a population isn't going to come to the polls for you if you're not speaking to them, if you're not telling them what you're going to do to them, if you're not describing the world in which they see themselves, saying, some variation on "I feel your pain," and then talking about policies that can be done to make their lives better. And I think that applies whether you're talking about young white men, whether you're talking about various ethnic minorities, any demographic group we're talking about wants to hear from a candidate. What are you going to do? Do you see the world in which I live? And do you have some kind of plausible path to get me to a better place?
In the days after Charlie Kirk was murdered on the Utah College campus, I spent many a night covering different events, from shouting questions at Governor Youngkin about how he would remember, this is back in September and the election was just getting going. 45 days of early voting in Virginia. It's like the election seemingly never ends, but it was just getting going. I was shouting questions at him following Kirk's assassination, asking how are you going to keep elections safe and open, and there's a lot of unknowns at that point in time. We also covered many Turning Point USA chapters that formed at local schools, at the public school level and at the collegiate level in Virginia following his assassination. But as it turns out, that vote appears to not have materialized at the polls. So as you campaign and you look at the demographics and the electorate that you need to go knock on doors and do events, and essentially the voters that you need to reach and to turn out to the polls, how important is it for you as a candidate to reach that younger Turning Points generation crowd?
It's absolutely critical. I think we need to be speaking to that generation. I think they feel unseen. I think there is a sense among that younger demographic that the American dream isn't working for them. Now, I don't know how much of that is true, but certainly they feel it. And so a candidate has to be able to go to them and say, look, I see where you are. I hear what you are saying. Here's a pathway. And again, it's not just that Turning Point USA generation, although I talked specifically in the piece you referenced that I didn't see them really come out, and that passion that we saw them display at the candlelight vigils across the country doesn't seem to have translated to the ballot box. And as a party, we need to figure out why. What are they not hearing? Why are they not coming? What do we need to do?
The Virginia Republican Party is kind of there's a lot of questions about what the future of that party is. Right now, Democrats in Virginia are mobilized. They're feeling emboldened. They're heading in with a overwhelming majority in all three areas in Richmond, the governorship, and both chambers of the legislature. The Republicans, they hold an advance, which is an annual conference each year, right after the election each year. I'm curious if you'll be going to that, and if you had an opportunity to tell them exactly, give them a piece of your mind about what happened here and what should change, what should happen in the future as we look into in 2026 and beyond, how the Republican Party might reorganize and do better in subsequent elections.
I tentatively plan to go. I'm not sure I'd have a message beyond what I wrote. We need to figure out how to mobilize traditional key Republican demographics, many of which did not show up in this election. I'm not sure what their reasons were. I think we need to do a lot of diagnosis, an autopsy, so to speak, of exactly how that happened and why we didn't speak to these voters and why they weren't motivated. But then we need to move beyond our base voters. We need to talk to the changing demographics of Virginia. It's no secret that there are a lot of new citizens in Virginia, citizens from Central and South America, citizens from Iraq, citizens from Afghanistan, from India. We need to be able to talk to all of those voters, talk to them about our policies, and show them why we're the right choice for them and their families.
Now, as well as those who might have been living in Washington, D.C. or Maryland during the pandemic and realized that they could come to Virginia and get, moved to the exurbs, if you will, Spotsylvania County and further south and get double the space for half the money. And I think that nowhere, based upon the analysis that we did at Potomac Local, nowhere did we see a bigger change than Spotsylvania County, which shifted 20 points to the left since between now and 2021. So clearly, part of that demographic change were people that were moving into the area for all different reasons, as you mentioned, but also as COVID as well, as people kind of get out of the cities and got into the suburbs and the exurbs. And as you say, now you have to go out and reach them and introduce yourselves and talk about
That's
policy.
right. That's right. But let's stay on Spotsylvania, because I think that's a really interesting test case. Yes, the 3 state level candidates did not do well in Spotsylvania. They all lost. But all 3 Republican county commissioner candidates won by a very, very close race. The other 2, not so much. So I think that's a path forward. We need to look at what were the messages that these local candidates who are clearly out there doing the work, knocking on the doors, talking to voters, what did they bring forward that the national ticket did not? I think that's a great place to start our diagnosis.
So as we look ahead to your race and Eugene Vindman there's no secret. His policy is very left of center. He is a proud Democrat. He makes no bones about it. And he has been very critical of Trump and other Republicans here in Virginia, who would criticize him for any reason. He's also been one of the ones that have consistently voted to keep the government closed, where the Republicans wanted to put as they say, clean resolution, an operating resolution to keep the government open until at least January. Where Democrats have opposed that until Senator Tim Kaine and others went across their party lines and broke with their majority. And it looks like they're going to hold a vote tonight. What is today? November 12th on that, as you and I are talking right here, to possibly, after more than 40-day shutdown, reopen the government. So when you talk to voters and they may be repeating back, well, Donald Trump's in charge, he's the president, Republicans have the majority in Washington, it's clearly the Republicans' fault. Does that make it difficult to you to have to kind of come in and get sort of in the weeds, get it and educate the voters on what exactly is happening, if those people really aren't truly paying attention?
Right. I think we need to voters always need to pay attention, but that's a hard thing to do. Lots of voters aren't as involved in politics as you and I are. So that's always a heavy lift to get voters to pay attention to exactly what's going on in the race. But I think that Eugene Vindman makes it easy. There's just not much there except, orange man bad, as they say. He hates President Trump. He's very, very pro-Ukraine, and it's very hard to find much else there. Doesn't do much constituent service, doesn't understand the southern part of the district. I think it would be very easy to come to the voters and say, look, are you really represented by this guy who's nothing but a shill vote for the Democratic leadership?
Since this district was created in 2021 at the process of redistricting by the courts in 2021, we've seen two Republicans run for this seat and lose twice. The first being Yesli Vega, who is currently on the Prince William Board of County Supervisors, and later Derek Anderson in 2023, I believe, and he ran for this seat last 24. Thank you, 24. And I can go back to Vega's campaign, and we could see that she did very well in what you just mentioned, the southern part, the western part of the district, the Culpepers and what have you. But you get into Prince William County, and there are so many. It's a numbers game. It's a population game. So when you get into Prince William County, I mean, that eastern Prince William County, that just one, not even an entire county, just half of a county, really controls this, what is a very big district when it comes to the seventh district. So what's your strategy? What's the message that you're going to be taking out to voters across the district to make sure they understand who you are?
Well, you're right that piece of Prince William south of Old Bridge Road controls about a third of the population of the district. So it doesn't control it, but boy, does it have significant weight. Again, I think we need to get to the minority voters in that district. The Hispanic voters, the Asian voters, the Arab voters, the Afghan voters. Those are family-friendly demographics that should be attracted to the conservative economic message of the Republican Party. It's an indictment of us that we're not talking to them or haven't found a way to talk to them effectively to communicate our message. And I think that's a big part of what my campaign's going to need to do as we move into the next calendar year.
So we saw that the U.S. Supreme Court is not going to take up the gay marriage debate again. They signaled they're not going to do that. And as we look ahead, I was reading a few weeks ago before the election, I was reading an analysis that basically said that as Democrats in Virginia look to redistrict and hold a special referendum in April of 2026, which is really unheard of. We don't really have elections in
Totally
April,
unheard of.
even on the local level, more or less the state level. And part of that was going to be rallying the base of Democrats who would go out and to vote should the Supreme Court take up that gay marriage issue. You would have Democrats sort of because the way Virginia's constitution is, I believe it's still, gay marriage is still illegal in Virginia per the Constitution, but the Supreme Court's 2015 ruling made it null and void. And so I think the Democrats, in addition to redistricting, they would also put that gay marriage and do it a constitutional change in April. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen now. So as you pull out your crystal ball, if you will, your prognosticator's hat, and you put it on, what events, what do you think could be some polarizing events that could bring out conservatives once again in a year that Donald Trump is not on the ballot? And in a year that right now, I mean, for instance, we're in open enrollment period, right? We're seeing health insurance costs balloon, right? We're seeing costs in just about everything go up. And that was not something that Republicans in this cycle really wanted to talk about. I think if you ask my opinion, and based upon some of the other people I've talked to, people were kind of just waiting and seeing if these tariffs that Trump has been pushing will pay off. And meanwhile, costs are rising. And it is more than just the cost of eggs at the grocery store. I mean, cost of just about everything. Cost of the electricity is going up. So, but back to my question, what key events do you think may happen over the course of this next year while you'll be running that may energize voters and you might be able to use in your pitch to voters as you to convince them to come vote for you?
Well, I'm not sure I want to get into a hypothetical about what the Democrats might do to put something on the ballot in April, let alone talk about what the political climate is going to look like in November, which, as you know, is a political eternity. And I'm a candidate, not an analyst. So I'll just say that I really think that we will have a good government coalition that pushes back against the clear cynicism of the Democrats trying to put this redistricting ballot on in April of next year. We had just 5 years ago, the people of Virginia made their opinion clear that they did not want to have partisan redistricting. And of course, this was after, admittedly, the Republicans had done it earlier, and there was a consensus that this needs not to be done. I think that we'll have a plurality of Republican and moderate voters who will reject this, and that we'll see the election occur in the districts as they're now drawn. And even assuming the courts let it get to there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it could very well be taken up in the courts, and there are many who say, yeah, sure, go ahead and do this, but it very well may backfire on you in the courts, and not upheld. And it's important to note for those who are listening to this that, you know, Virginia, much like most states, does the redistricting process every 10 years. And in the 2020, you know, in addition to being COVID, which delayed redistricting, we voted, and the Virginia voters decided they wanted an independent commission to determine these magisterial districts, these election districts across the state. And the committee couldn't come to a consensus. They couldn't get it done. So ultimately it went to court and a judge decided. And what we got was the 2020 lines that were drawn, 2021 lines that were drawn. So as we wrap up here, for people who are seeing you for the first time, and what should we know about you? Who are you? Why are you running? Give us some background on your candidacy, and then we'll talk about how people can find you.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that opportunity. So I'm Doug Ollivant. I'm a husband. I'm a father of 7. I'm a grandfather. I'm a retired Army officer. I taught politics at West Point. I served on the National Security Council at the White House. And I thought I was going to be semi-retired out here on my 50-ish acres on the banks of the Rappahannock in Culpeper County. I woke up one morning and Eugene Vindman was my congressman, and I just found that utterly unacceptable. So I've thrown my hat in the ring to get a candidate with the resume and the experience to both beat Eugene Vindman in the general and then properly represent the people of the 7th District, provide common sense, conservative, national security experience leadership to the 7th in the Congress.
And how can people find your campaign, learn more about you, and should they choose to do so, support your campaign?
Sure. On the web at dougforvirginia.com, DOUGFOR Virginia.com.
Doug, this has been great. Listen, thank you for coming on and talking with us today. You know, one of the things that we know here in Virginia is elections don't sleep, and we have one every year. And so as we're putting one to bed, we are getting ready for yours in your year. And it's also important to note that you are seeking the Republican nomination for this seat. Current State Senator Tara Durant has also announced for this seat as well. And it's possible you both won't be the last to announce for your intentions to run for this seat, but we will treat you all with fairness and help give you a platform to reach the voters, as we do for Democrats as well here on Potomac Local. We invite everyone to come on who wants to serve. We'll give them a fair shot and let them speak to us and to our audience. And thank you for supporting local journalism where you live. If you want more local journalism, please go to our website, potomaclocal.com. Sign up for our free email newsletter. I pack that thing full of local news between Fredericksburg, Manassas, and Woodbridge every day. Send it out at 4 o'clock. And we hope you find some value in it. If you want more of that, if you want to keep the lights on and not just our newsroom, but the lights shining on issues that are important to you and your neighbors, please consider supporting us and becoming a member by going to potomaclocal.com and purchasing a membership. Your $103 each year goes a long way in ensuring that local independent journalism continues here in Northern Virginia to bring you the stories that matter most to you and your family. I'm Uriah Kaiser. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
Thanks, Uriah.
All right. So, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Potomac Local podcast here on PLN. I'm Uriah Kaiser, founder and publisher of Potomac Local News. Today, we're talking about keeping warm in the wintertime. We're talking about Operation Warm. This is a partnership between Stafford County Public Schools and Stafford County Fire and Rescue that ensures every child has a coat. this winter. We always talk about this every winter. This is an effort that you guys work together on. Joining us on the podcast today, Mark Doyle. He's with Stafford County, Stafford Fire Department, and Hunter Berry with Stafford County Public Schools. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the podcast today. We'll start with talking about what inspired the schools and the fire department to team up to make sure that kids stay warm.
Well, this initiative started back in probably 2008. It was initially given to us by Fairfax County Fire and Rescue Department. They had been doing this partnership with Operation Warm for a number of years. They were trying to spread the wealth. They gave us about 30 coats at the time and explained the program to us, and we took off from there. We started donating coats to the children. We would contact the schools, work with their community outreach or public information officer, as it was at the time, who in turn would work with the guidance counselors, and we would get lists. Through the community partners, we've grown over the years to be able to go from supplying 30 coats that were given to us to, at some years, over 2,000 coats to the children within Stafford County Public Schools. And it wouldn't be possible without the partnership we have with the school system and our community partners. They are a huge part. Every dime that we raise goes directly to purchasing coats. There is no administrative fees. There's nothing. That's what the money goes for. Purchase coats. That's the main goal.
You know, Hunter, I'll ask you that there's several events that I've been to at the school division, and whether it's a back to school night or even, you know, at my kids' school, there always seems to be outreach in terms of reaching parents and children who don't have what they need. And I can tell you, I've been to an event where there were just free clothes there, right? The kids, if you need them, you can take them. So this is something that Stafford County is uniquely aware of, and Stafford County schools especially trying to meet the needs of the community. So talk about this particular drive and the sort of the organization that goes in it from the school's part and the excitement about being part of it.
Sure. So Stafford schools were dedicated to the whole student, right? So when they're coming to our building every day, we want them ready to learn. That includes making sure they're fed, that they have clothing, that they have the school supplies that they need. So partnering with the fire department on coats. We have kids that are waiting at the bus stop outside in the cold. So we wanted to make sure that they have the proper outerwear while they're waiting for our buses or walking to buildings. So this year we worked with our social workers, our counselors, our school-based staff to identify those most critically needed students that need the support of a new winter coat. And we have about 1,700 that will receive them this year. It's beginning to plateau. We had a spike at COVID, as Mark was mentioning, where we were giving away more than 2,000 coats because our families were in need of that supply. And now it's leveled off to be just under 2,000 each year.
Mark, what's the reaction among the families that you see who get these generous donations? You know, are they surprised? Are they grateful when distribution day happens and the coats go out? What do you see?
Well, Hunter, it's a unique situation because we don't see that. And there's a reason why. We learned early on when we had the 30 coats, we carried them to a school and we presented them to the children. And from that reaction, we decided that it would be better off to provide the coats to the guidance counselors and let those individuals provide the coats. Because, you know, with these children, especially the older children, it's a pride thing. And, you know, sometimes it's not as warming as you think it is. They feel a little down about having to receive that coat. So that's the last thing we want. We want everybody to be happy. What's our take on it is when our guys come back, they go to school functions or they happen to go on a call at the school and they see the coats that we provide. They know they're out there. They know they're being used. That's kind of our payback for what we do. You know, we know from talking to the guidance counselors that they, you know, the children are very happy to have them. So that's where we leave it. You know, it's not about how we feel. It's just making sure that those children feel warm in the winter and have the coat to make sure that happens.
Yeah, yeah, and so if families want to get involved, if they want to donate, if they want to, just participate and chip in any way to make those kids feel warm this winter, tell us how they can do that.
They can do it a couple of different ways. They can go on the social media with the Mountain View Fire Department Facebook page. We've got it on there. They go on Stafford County Public Schools. There are links there that they can donate using a credit card online. It goes right into our fund. They can also, those of us that are still writing checks today, can send a check to Mountain View Fire and Safety Association, P.O. Box 2528, Stafford, Virginia 22555. They'll put Coats for Kids in the memo line and make the donation and mail it into us at the post office box, and it'll go right into the coats.
And of course, we will put all that information into the description in this video, and of course on our website at PotomacLocal.com. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast. Thanks for all you do to make sure these kids are staying warm this winter, and we'll keep updated. But maybe you can tell us how many you collected, and if there's anything else you need in terms of getting the word out and letting people know about this, we're happy to help.
That's the main thing, Uriah, is getting the word out. And one of the things I want to say before we leave, because I want to make sure that we give a shout out to Ebenezer Methodist Church this year. They were a huge part of making us a success this year. Quite honestly, without their partnership, we probably wouldn't have been as successful as we were. So I want to make sure that people from Ebenezer know how grateful we are for what they did for us this year.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen, so much. And thank you for watching here on the Potomac Local Podcast, watching, listening, however you're getting it. We certainly appreciate you being here. For more local news, go to PotomacLocal.com. Sign up for our free daily email. We send that out at 4 p.m., packet full of local news you just won't find anywhere else. And, of course, go to our YouTube page if you want to see what's happening where you live. Between Fredericksburg, Manassas, and Woodbridge, it's all right there at PotomacLocal.com and on YouTube. Have a great day.
Thank you.